signals can be found along the main taxiway in each of the green, blue and red trading zones. See your souvenir programme for a full list of traders.
Yeah, I know. Just you can tell, yeah, but if they're taxing, at least you know what.
By the way, look that good building, Turkish spectacular way. Ladies and gentlemen, please hang on tight and enjoy. Feel and experience the legendary display. Left hand is on Raptor, which is at idle. Right hand is on which is at forward. And I and as he said, the future is in the sky. Unit just on the wild machine with the powerful engine and roll. And ready? Now, 1 second. Please be ready. And now, the mother, which is perhaps why it harbors such a diversity. Today, Solo Turk is flying for Europe. Today, Solo Turk is flying for England. Following the glitchy path, we will watch Solo Turk and thank you very much for our colleagues, and thank you very much for the Royal International Air Couteau.
And thank you very much, First Lieutenant Emre Bayra, always a pleasure. Well, now it's a pleasure to welcome a display team making its UK debut at the 2017 Royal International Air Tattoo, flying some of the most charismatic combat jets in European NATO service today. And I'll hand you over for this to Capitaine Marty of the French Air Force.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm Captain Marty, and it is my privilege to present to the next team the French Couteau Delta Tactical Display. This ship of Mirage 2017 the famous Raptor Delta that you have may seen at various airshows in Europe, especially Riat 2015 and their normal weight due to centrifugal force. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a pop-up attack. The pilot pulls up to allow the weapons officer to visually acquire the target. As soon as the weapons officer sees the objective, the pilot will roll out and dive towards it. Fly at high or medium altitude, especially for closer support missions. Below the Airshow bombs, the attack will be followed by a 6G evasive maneuver to the left. There on your left, at nearly 800 km per hour, ladies and gentlemen, the Couteau Delta! Fighters are equipped with this bailout seat that launch the crew at 8 inches, which is close to the limit that the human body can handle. Will now pass in front of you one last time to perform a separation before your eyes. C-2000C fighter, 2C-2000B conversion trainer, back then in the hands of that great display pilot Claude Saget, whose father is still flying, displaying and instructing his late 80s on CAT light aircraft, and who himself is still a display pilot in France on a privately owned DC-3 Dakota. Since then, we've seen the end of those displays in favour of the Rafale. That team has now disbanded, but Couteau Delta, more than worthy replacement, especially with the two Mirage 2000Ds, these two beautiful Jordanian in these superb special colour schemes. Mark, a very impressive start to the show and some more jet action to come.
Yeah, what a great start. So we'll talk about that a little more a bit later on. But the Gripen is just about to line up, and this is a wonderful display as well. Spoiled a little bit yesterday because of the weather, but hopefully today you should get a good rolling display in.
Yes, well, Couteau Delta has cleared the runway. A bit of a final flourish for the spectators in the Riat enclosure. Maybe trying to get some more focus in the size of the Patrouille size. To see in the programme today, and rather better weather now than yesterday, as Mark was saying, in which you watch the display.
come for the slow speed pass, Mark, what we call the high alpha pass.
Yeah, alpha is essentially the angle of attack of the aircraft as it makes its way through the air. And because we've got the wingtip smoke generators here, it's quite easy to see the difference between where the smoke is going and where the nose of the aircraft is. The slower the aircraft is, the less air is going over the wing, so to produce the lift required to keep it in the air, you have to increase the angle of attack. And this looks to be about 20 degrees or so between where the nose of the aircraft is and the trajectory the aircraft is flying. Very impressive.
Never been faster. Here in the past, although it was quite a sort of spectacular experience with quite a lot of tire smoke, but it's unremarkable on the
Unbelievable. So that touchdown there was 6,000 feet to go and has, 7,000 feet to go and stopped virtually with 6,000 feet to go. So within 1,000 feet, that aircraft has decelerated from about 130 knots down to 0. Unbelievable.
Well, a very professional display, as ever, from the Swedish Air Force Gripen display pilot, who we welcome back to Riat for the, the latest of several occasions, really. And he'll be backtracking, I think, following that very smart 180-degree turn on the runway from Major Peter Fallian. Oh, in fact, he's doing a 360 on the runway for good measure.
One good turn deserves another.
Yes, Peter Fallian from F7 wing at Sortenus on the Swedish Air Force JAS-39C Gripen, produced by Saab. And I think if we're taking sartorial notes, Mark, he is the only display pilot in the show who has a top knot.
Yeah, would be allowed in the Royal Air Force, or indeed the British Army, but that's the European Air Forces for you.
Super display by Peter, as ever. And there's the Belgian Air Component Westland Seaking getting into the air. That's going to be going on to the Belgian Air Component. What a nostalgic sight this is to those of us in the UK. You remember the yellow rescue Seakings of the Royal Air Force that were in service until 2015, along with the grey and red rescue Seakings of the Fleet Air Arm of the Royal Navy. Well, the Seaking almost gone now from UK military service, but still in use as a rescue aircraft in Belgium, as it has been for a very, very long time indeed. In fact, since November 1976. Built by Westlands at their factory in Yeovil, the Belgians took on 5 Seakings, based to the Westland Wessex, just as the Sikorsky F-61 was the basis for the Westland Seaking. Belgium wanted the extra redundancy and safety afforded by twin engines when it selected the new rescue helicopter. Of the 5 that were originally received, 1 has gone to the export. scenario, we have 2 down down and one instrument to where the
location is of the survivor. My time on the Phantom and the Tornado, 15% of my flying was at night, and 50% of my flying was over the water. And so it was very, very heartening to know that all along the east coast of the UK, we had search and rescue locations where these aircraft were based. So Patrouille, the helicopter, of more than 3,000 scrambles, the fleet for Seaking has notched up in excess of 50,000 flight hours, and they've been involved in high-profile rescue experiences, including efforts 30 years ago in the aftermath of the terrible Free Enterprise ferry disaster off Zeebrugge. 3 Belgian Seakings involved now from our right.
Leading them is Major Ahmed Udvar. He's going to get airborne and try to touch the cloud, see what the cloud-based ceiling is, and see what he can do with the available wind. We'll check out the weather based on that.
Up into an opening quarter cloverleaf manoeuvre. The idea of that being that if you were to look at 4 of them put together, they describe the shape of a cloverleaf. From box formation, transitioning into T for Tango formation for a loop.
And we're back to box now.
Up for a loop in box. And now putting up once more, but they'll be pushing over at the top into their inverted path with a dose of negative G for the pilots beforehand. Now for individual roles. That's all also pretty hard. So now mirror formation by the first two aircraft, the third rolling around their smoke. Showing his solo aerobatic skills here is Bassam Diabat.
The Actually, my break is a sequence of maneuvers. We've introduced some tumbles this year.
And I expect we'll shortly be listening into the cockpit of the leader. Which will blend into 1.5 turn knife edge spin. Showing us here the extra EA300L. Extra, the surname of the man who came up with the family of extra aerobatic aircraft, the German aerobatic pilot and aircraft manufacturer Walter Extra. It was in 1992 that the Royal Jordanian Falcons transitioned from the Special to the extra EA300, and they since upgraded to the low-wing L model. Hanging it on the propeller there. Ship up into a loop in line abreast formation. And it'll be a rapid...
Joe, this is for you on your 22nd anniversary, all the way from Holland.
Some very, very special markings indeed from the Italian Air Force coming up shortly in the display. Maybe a good opportunity to run through what's coming up there. Along with possible speed around the
on board, you would hear the navigator call 25 maneuver, gears down, which literally means fully extended wings, landing gear out, headlights on, pretending to be touching the runway in the touch and roll figure. That's out at 9 and you put the pilot through the ringer as the undergear force, 3 times stronger than gravity on Earth. are all unwritten. Also can appreciate European defense history.
Run down Fairford's main runway. Yeah, that's one of the ways you slow the aircraft down without using the wheel brakes or the reverse thrust. With the angle of attack there, there's a huge amount of air being compressed under the aircraft, which has the effect of slowing it down. So, from Italy to Switzerland, lining up. This impressive mountain is part of the UNESCO World Heritage. The popular North Wall is the triangle-shaped spectacular north face of the Eiger high above Grindelwald. The team is now parading in a pattern called Swan. Swans are the largest extant members of the waterfall family and are among the largest flying birds. Who is different to the serial Tiger operated daily by the Swiss Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Patrouille Suisse in the diamond formation. At 260 knots, which is the Tiger's limiting speed to lower the undercarriage. In the shadow formation. Ladies and gentlemen, the Patrouille Suisse parading in the formation Roger Federer We wish him good luck for this afternoon at the Centre Court in Wimbledon. And now the Swiss Air Force National Aerobatic Team is painting our national flag into the beautiful sky of Fairford. The flag of Switzerland consists of a red flag with a white cross in the center. It is the only two-square sovereign state flag. The red cross symbol designs a base on the Swiss flag by reversing the color of the flag in order to honor Switzerland, where the first Geneva Convention was held. And now we're enrolling the letter T. The air T stands for Tango, or for our special painted Tiger display aircraft.
With two Mirage 2000D strike aircraft making their debut UK show appearance at RIAT this year. Then we've got the other French act, RIAT for 18 years by Sukhoi Su-27 flanker of the Ukrainian Air Force, and then to conclude things...
Albania's 12 aircraft have been delivered by Albania's Italian Air Force with relative logistics support. Unfortunately, base weather won't allow the crew to perform some amazing vertical aerobatics like the loop and the half Cubanate, but we are still able to
Now this features a lot of nostalgic action from the SR-71 Blackbird and many Spitfires and other warbirds. Just see the Apache getting airborne. That's going out to a hold, and that'll be displaying in a few moments' time. But going back to the BBC, of course, you make sure you'll get the blue one, and then you'll get the rest of
The aircraft having been recovered from a palace at Bikana in India some years ago. Quite incredible the lengths Guy Black and his team have gone to return that aircraft to airworthiness. It's expected to be taken to IWM Duxford fairly soon for maiden post-restoration flight, but you've got an opportunity to see it up close here at the Airshow for the first time in public at the BAE Systems Heritage Exhibit in the centre of the showground. Of course, the great number of aircraft from International Air Arms present in the static park with their crews on hand in the main to talk to you, answer any questions you may have, and to sell you souvenirs, patches, t-shirts and the like. Among them are guests from the US Air Force Global Strike Command, back with us with a B-52A.
Delivering a successful rocket strike, Jim reacts dynamically to avoid any ground fire, here conducting a 270-degree wing over. Then, Jim will pitch forward to 80 degrees nose down, balancing with pedal and allowing airspeed to build before recovering the dive at 200 feet above the ground. centre for a close-up look at the 360-degree wing over. The aircraft continues 60 degrees nose up and 90 degrees angle of bank, whilst coordinating control inputs, as well as monitoring the power required. The 10-ton helicopter can be flown back over its right shoulder through 360 degrees. A flaring turn, both the rockets and the missiles can engage targets out to ranges of 8 kilometres, while the powerful M230 30mm cannon, mounted underneath the fuselage, can fire high explosive rounds out to beyond 4 kilometres with a cyclic rate of 625 rounds per minute. As you watch Gunship perform sideways laterals, you can see the Apache's impressive hover performance at a representative operational weight. Above the main rotor disc, you'll notice the distinctive shape of the aircraft's fire control radar. The radar is able to scan out to 8 kilometres, detecting over 1,000 targets, prioritising them, and offering the pilot 16 simultaneous firing solutions through the aircraft's weapons processors. Along with target detection and missile guidance, the radar is also capable of mapping the terrain ahead of the aircraft in flight to assist in navigation and terrain avoidance at night or in bad weather. On the nose of the aircraft is the Target Acquisition and Designation Site, or TADS. This houses the DTV and infrared cameras, as well as a Class 4 laser for ranging and missile guidance. A further infrared sensor mounted above the TADS can be displayed to the pilot's helmet position, allowing fighter pilots to interact with all these reference to the image projected right eye from the helmet mount module. As seen earlier, the helmet sight can also be used to control the position of the gun, one of the Apache's more famous parts of the aircraft. This can be set to automatically change during flight in order to level the fuselage. This assists the aircraft in its primary role as a stable weapons platform, meaning together they produce more than 4 Formula 1 racing cars. The Apache is capable of flying on just a single engine should it sustain any battle damage. Fantastic pyrotechnic effects. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are capturing photographs today, this may be one you would like, so please do have your cameras at the ready for a final opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, the British Army Apache attack helicopter. That concludes today's demonstration of the Army Air Corps Apache helicopters on behalf of the whole team. Major Trainhead, Staff Sergeant Falcon and Gunship will now perform the customary bow to thank you for your support. So please do give them a wave, put your hands together and show your appreciation for their efforts today.
Spectators, the pride of the Finnish Air Force, the aerobatic team from the Finnish Air The signature of Kidnappers aerobatic team is the maneuver called Suisse. Low barrel roll. In Finland we call this tono. Now in front of you, oblique blue. transmission live. Squadron 41, based at Tikkakoski. The Finnish Air Force pilots undergo flight training on the Hawk to be ready for the F-18 conversion and operational training. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We hope to see you again in the future. Thank you. Kiitos.
And likewise, we hope to see you again in the future because the Midnight Hawks haven't been at RIAT for 13 years, I think.
That's right. 2004, I believe, was the last time.
The aileron roll is a highly demanding maneuver for such an heavy carrier as this, since it requires a good hand-eye coordination, pinpoint accuracy to avoid likely artillery cross. Upside down, the plane takes against Americans that you showing off. We're trying to figure out what's happening in the cockpit now. Confined is setting on the right, so you hang on to the handles. Keep the engine sound from on the right. The airplane is now flying at the lowest possible speed, only 90 knots. Try to picture right now some paratroopers dropping from the back door over a tactical operation. The Spartan can handle the 9-ton load, including vehicles, as well as medical staff and equipment. Higher the combat over the air to fight us in just a narrow patch of sky. It's well underway now for the last maneuver. From the other ministry, still man aboard, proudly waves our flags over this low taxi and glows on each. It's our genuine way to bow to magnificent people here in Fairford and to celebrate our long partnership and our friendship among our countries, among our air forces. Because I really don't want to play my own trumpet then, but I can't help praising my pilots, not only since they all lived up to our expectations, but since they push themselves to the verge of their own limits each and every time they climb aboard the aircraft, giving out excellent performances, but above all, improving our power and our safety. Our praises go to the work teams, the team around them, commissioners and not commissioned officers, airmen, everybody's got their own role, everybody's got his own task, but the passion is the same, and that's what we do.
Their half of the job done. Now the ship's at operating altitude, squared away on course in formation. Keeping station, each plane helps to cover the other. Together they make one round, bristling hedgehog of fire. The pale, glimmering English
all
sun.
the way to their targets. However, then came the likes of the Republic P-47 Thunderbolt and the North American P-51 Mustang that we're soon to see. They could go with the bombers deep into occupied Europe to their targets and back. Gradually, US bomber losses decreased as the Allies gained air superiority, although flak anti-aircraft fire was still a danger even to the legendarily tough B-17, and conditions on board these aircraft and the Liberators at altitude were, let's say, pretty hellish. It was noisy, it was cold, there was little armour plating, little in the way of personal protective equipment, and that was before you took into account the threat of enemy action. This also to the members of the Sally B Supporters Club. Mustang. This is the US Air Force's ubiquitous air-to-air refueling tanker, the first KC-135A model came into service, followed by the Lockheed Martin C-130J-30 Hercules from the 86th Airlift Wing's 37th Airlift Squadron from Ramstein Air Base, Germany. profile, requiring all your bombs and missiles to be carried internally. The F-22 is the first supersonic, multi-role and highly maneuverable stealth fighter in the world with a fully internal combat weapons load. Ready your cameras as Raptor banks in from the left and sights his weapons bay doors. Folks, if you've ever wondered where those bombs and missiles hide, here is your answer. Characteristics are phenomenal. Watch now as Major Dickinson repositions the aircraft to crowd right. And the United States Air Force's F-22 Raptor, piloted by Major Dickinson. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States Air Force Heritage Flight. We hope you've enjoyed watching and taking pride in this rare display of more than 70 years of air power heritage. Because we still have the display by the US Air Force Aerial Demonstration Squadron, the Thunderbirds. All of this tying in very nicely with our operational theme for RIAT 2017, which is 21st Century Partnerships, and of course there are simply no better examples. Coming to display, of course, includes the Royal Air Force Aerobatic Team, the Red Arrows. They'll be displaying at about 4:45 this afternoon. There's the F-22 Raptor backstrapping
from our left, and then turning off the runway. Now, very much time for the Thunderbirds to make their presence felt down at the right-hand end of the runway, and the next voice you hear will be that of Thunderbird 12, their commentator, Captain Sarah Harper. Sarah, when you're ready.
On command, watch the face. Newly transition back to the Thunderbird Diamond formation. more closely associated with the Thunderbirds than the one you're about to see. Look in front as the senior formation approaches for the low bombers. Right, the Thunderbirds dedicate this final task to our friends here in the United Kingdom.
Demonstration squadron, and that concludes the 70th anniversary of the USAF segment of the show today. But there is plenty more to come on our flying program, and Mark Manwaring, the links between the US Air Force or US military air arms and the Royal Air Force run exceptionally deep, don't they? Yeah, absolutely, Ben. It goes really back to World War I, but with the theme of World War II being shown quite front and centre today. I'd like to go back to 1939, and under American law then, it was illegal for United States citizens to join armed forces of other countries. In fact, in doing so, they lost their citizenship, although Congress passed a blanket pardon in 1944. But even so, hundreds, if not thousands, of American citizens volunteered to join the Royal Air Force before America officially entered the war in December 1941. Perhaps the most famous result of this was the Eagle Squadron. The first, number 71, was formed in September 1940, followed by numbers 121 and 123 Squadron over the next 3 months. In early 1942, all 3 Eagle Squadrons were equipped with Spitfires and were regularly taking part in sweeps over France. Some of these were flight patrols, keeping out air or ground targets, whilst others were operations for bombing range. The greatest test came on 19th of August 1942, when all 3 squadrons were involved in Operation Jubilee, the landing at Riat. However, in September of 1942, the Eagle Squadrons were formally transferred to the United States Army Air Force. At this point, numbers 71, 121 and 123 Squadrons became the 334th, 335th and 336th Squadrons respectively. These units continued to see service throughout the war in Europe, and all 3 squadrons shared a privileged, almost unbroken World War II history, with virtually identical evolution operating aircraft such as the Sabre in the Korean War, the Phantom in the Vietnam War, and the F-15E, as we saw earlier today, over Iraq in the First Gulf War, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and Operation Enduring Freedom. And at that point, the Circle's combined operations with the Royal Air Force was complete, operating alongside the RAF Tornadoes in the ground attack role. A fascinating history, a long-standing history, and one that we're very proud to commemorate at this Royal International Air Tattoo 2017 as the Thunderbirds F-16Cs taxi past. Been demonstrated by the likes of the C-130 Hercules in the past with strategic airlift capabilities. It's a 4 turboprop airlifter, 4 Europrop International TP400 engines.
And as you watch this, you need to remember that although this display has been put together to keep it very tight to the crowd line, to keep it almost within the confines of the boundary of the airfield, it's a fantastic airshow display, but it also showcases the very best tactical capabilities that this aircraft has.
Yes, there's a lot of tactical relevance in this display. That steep turn from takeoff is the sort of thing that you might use on some operational missions.
And also that very tight minimum radius turn with a radius of around about 15 to 1800 feet also has great tactical relevance when trying to defeat the weapon solution of an enemy fighter aircraft, combined also with a very, very capable self-defense suite on board the aircraft. This aircraft is very, very difficult to get a gun solution on, and indeed a missile solution.
In 2013, the first production A400M was delivered to the Armée de l'Air, the French Air Force. It's since come into service with our own Royal Air Force, the German Luftwaffe. They've also got one in the static display near the 2 RAF examples. The Royal Malaysian Air Force, the Spanish Air Force and the Turkish Air Force. With their customer nations, and about 16,000 flying hours has been amassed by the global A400M fleet, and that has included operational usage. The French have used these aircraft to support operations in Mali, which has involved flying from unprepared dirt airstrips. Turkey have employed them in Afghanistan, and they've used its capability to carry helicopters in its cargo hold. On one occasion, the Turkish Air Force has flown 2 Bell UH-1 Huey helicopters in an A400M on another mission, Korsky to Senegal. And it's aircraft very familiar in these parts, in service with number 70 Squadron at Bryce Northview. The signature part of the A400M display.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope we can get it in with the cloud base. Yes, how about that? 120 degrees of bank. When you compare that with its sibling, the A330, which has a limitation of 67 degrees of bank, it is virtually twice as manoeuvrable. But this type of structural integrity doesn't happen by chance. It is designed from the ground up from day one.
And in large part that manoeuvrability, apart from the aircraft's design of the airframe, bestowed by the fly-by-wire controls, giving it such a wide flight envelope. And what we saw there is again intended to show the sort of manoeuvring this aircraft might do.
Photocompetition.com.
Now another facet of its tactical capability being demonstrated with an ultra-short landing. Full flaps, very powerful wheel brakes, and full thrust reverse on those huge turboprops will bring this aircraft to a halt and reverse in under 1,500 feet.
You might be able to see, especially if you're up at the right-hand end of the airfield, the rear fuselage loading ramp coming down. And that's necessary when reverse taxiing, isn't it? Yeah, there's no windows in the back of the aircraft, and the pilots can't actually see where they're going. So the loadmaster or the crewman in the back of the aircraft will be guiding the pilots from the front in the direction they're going. And as it taxis by, the air-to-air refuelling probe, there's a receiver clearly on view. Yes, another quite brilliant demonstration by Anthony Flynn and Jonathan Taylor from Airbus Defence and Space of the Airbus A400M. Absolutely spectacular. Squadron now. Artificial stability and carefully handling control system. The aircraft will trim itself to a straight level once you. But very much a glass cockpit with very, very few analog instruments. Example there of a minimum radius turn, around about 1,500 feet of the radius, punctuated in the middle by a very precisely flown aileron roll. But now the pace slows as Ryan brings the aircraft in for its slow pass. What sort of speed are we thinking here? I think about 110 knots through the air, flying into a headwind of about 20 knots. So giving it a speed over the ground of 90, which is roughly 100 miles an hour, which is also the cruise speed of a Cessna 152. Very impressive for an aircraft of this size and high-end performance also. reserve squadron of the Royal Air Force Flight Lieutenant Ryan Lawton completing his sequence in the Eurofighter Thyphoon FGR-4. With Mr. Lee Wells, Mr. banner. Belgium was one of 4 European NATO countries, alongside Denmark, the Netherlands and Norway, to confirm their so-called sale of the century. January 1979, a rather smaller fleet now with the end of the Cold War, but much more capable. And an aircraft that'll notch up. Mortal, call sign Gizmo, in his third and last of 3 years as the Belgian F-16 display pilot. Despite it being a 40-year-old design, most of this display is actually taking place within the boundary of the airfield. I was talking to Gizmo earlier today, and the helmet and mask assembly that he's wearing weighs 3 pounds. And remarkably, this aircraft remains
we've been enjoying the fine displays today. You may wish to take away your own personal copy of what's been going on, and you can do that by ordering a Blu-ray or DVD. You'll see a number of cameras around the showground, and indeed many of the cockpits have got GoPro cameras in as well. And you can order this, certainly if you do it before the 31st.
As the F-16 took part in. All customers for the FA-18 Hornet, the FA designation standing for fighter and attack. It would have been made in the 1930s and would definitely not have been in frontline service and as capable as this aircraft, and would almost certainly have been made out of wood and fabric. Nice to see the Hornet with the big dorsal air brake extended on landing. Nice to see the Spanish Hornet in the air today, because one of the items that unfortunately fell victim to yesterday's weather. Yeah, and I think looking around, we're quite lucky at the moment. We seem to be in a nice clear bit. There's a few bits of blue sky. Nice off to the south, but to the north, a big band of showers.
Red 4, he's now stopped. We've got all 9 jets ready to go.
Coming left with her, alright?
Down the runway. 100 miles an hour already, taking off about 150 miles per hour. Please put your hands together as we welcome the Royal Air Force Aerobatic Team for 2017. It's the Red Arrows! The voice there of Red 1 Squadron Leader David Montenegro as he enters a left-hand turn and calls the pilots into Phoenix formation. You'll now see Reds 4, 5, 8 and 9 on the wings, movement being Red 2 in the closest parts of the aircraft, closing now to around 6 feet or 2 meters apart as they form this shape. Red 1 is in his 3rd and final year as the team leader. He is a former Hawk flying instructor and Tornado F3 air defence pilot. He first joined the Red Arrows back in 2009 and left in 2011, having led the synchro pair. That's him at the front calling the smoke on as they're coming through in Phoenix.
pilots this year. That is Red 2. He is Flight Lieutenant Toby Keeley. Toby's a former Tornado GR4 pilot and Hawk flying instructor, but not on this version of Hawk. Toby's more recently been flying our new latest advanced jet trainer, the BA Systems Hawk T Mark II. A much more advanced aircraft with lots of computer systems and more relevant to training our 4th and 5th generation fighter pilots. To the right now, descending, smoke's about to come on in the shape of Spitfire, ready for the Spitfire roll. Upside down at 2,500 feet, 400 miles per hour. You can see that aircraft shape there. And we've introduced that shape this year to celebrate the Royal Air Force's Battle of Britain Memorial Flight's 60th anniversary. We saw a brilliant Thompson formation fight over to the left now. The smoke is on. Get ready for Tornado. 8-9 roll go there. Blue and red smoke is on. They're now going to roll around the rest of the formation. Very moody with that dark cloud behind. Brilliant red and blue smoke. And now red one's going to make it harder for these guys, entering a 3G left-hand turn. Says Red 9 as they finish that tornado manoeuvre. And now the next change is called, as you'll see Reds 2, 3, 4 and 5 move to the very back of the formation of being Red 7's aircraft. 8 and 9 are going to tuck in behind and form the shape of that fabulous feat of British aviation engineering excellence. In this left-hand turn, the white smoke is about to come on as the boys present Concorde. This is Concorde. At the very bottom of the formation there is Red 5. He is Flight Lieutenant Chris Lyndon Smith. And breaking the normal tradition, Chris is a returning Renaris pilot to the team. His background is as a Tornado GR4 pilot and Hawk flying instructor. He first joined the Renaros back in 2011 and left in 2013, having led the Synchro pair. That's him now at the top of the formation, as you see the 3 aircraft on each wing moving forward to form our trademark Diamond 9 shape. And they'll soon be coming in from the right-hand side to fly the Diamond Roll. Silhouette of our trademark Diamond 9 shape upside down again at 2,500 feet. On the far right of that shape is Red 4. He's Flight Lieutenant Matt Masters, a former Tucano instructor and Tornado F3 air defence pilot. Second unit split. Keep your eyes on Jippo. Here we go. This is the Jippo pass. Once again, the Synchro pair will cross out the front in the slingshot, but you need to look to your right. Look right now to find the 5 headlights as they perform the Goose. Climbing very steeply over to the right-hand side with a little twinkle roll is 7 and 8 with their coloured smoke on, rolling around Red 6 in the vortex. Red 1 enters a left-hand turn. The following pilots input a lot of rudder to swing the jets out like a pendulum, using their feet to operate the rudder in line of stern. Distance around 7 metres away from each other, lining up various parts of the aircraft as they continue this left-hand turn, pulling now around 3.5 G in battle with the red smoke on. Now switching to white smoke.
go. This is the Hurricane. Enid switched to coloured smoke. They're about to draw a red, white and blue snake-like shape of smoke in the sky now as they fly the Python. Eight and 9 roll go. Coloured smoke's on, pitching up to roll around the synchro pair. They then perform their own aileron rolls before they split in the jib-ho break. Full power, pitching up at 6G to 20 degrees nose up, rolling upside down, back to 100 feet. The inside riders pick up to roll to the outside as they fly the rollbacks. To switch from red to blue and vice versa. Down the front they go to white smoke. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here at the Royal International Air Tattoo, please put your hands together for the synchro pair. With red smoke on, they can pitch up to draw the mathematical symbol for infinity around the rest of the formation. This is the infinity break. You have been watching the Royal Air Force aerobatic team, the Red Arrows!
Their own display at the 4:45 today, but as they break into the circuit, George.
It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I hope you enjoyed the display. I wish you all the very best now on behalf of the Royal Air Force and from everybody at the Red Arrows. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Well, splendid stuff. You now feel like you're back on track, don't you, with the display once it's been possible for the Red Arrows to perform?
So without these guys, and of course the 1,000 adult volunteers from both military and civilian, there would be no Royal Air Force Fairford International Air Tattoo. It would just be an ordinary air service. So a huge thanks to all of the air cadets involved in that process, and indeed all of the RIAT permanent staff and the hundreds upon hundreds of volunteers who make this event just what success it is. Well, the next display aircraft has lined up on cue down at the right-hand end of Fairford runway, the 27 end. In the bearing as the Red Arrows taxi off, it'll be ready to get airborne. Another one of our international visitors to RIAT2017. And a very welcome one too, Belgian Seaking that we saw earlier.
So, Rafale C.
There's a patent that idea right now. I'd like to not have to work in here.
Unlike the Mirage 2000 that we've just seen, the Rafale is a twin-engined aircraft, a pair of Snecma M88-2 afterburning turbofans, each delivering 17,000 pounds of thrust with afterburner. see the gear coming down now for a low go around. This is the single-seat Rafale C model. The French Air Force also uses the two-seat Rafale B, which initially intended only as a conversion trainer, but in fact they have now ended up procuring almost as many of them as they have single-seaters, for the reason that they fly them rather like the USAF uses the F-15E Strike Eagle on air-to-ground missions with the weapons systems operator in the back seat.
And yet another very impressive slow speed flight past around about 110 knots, flying into a 20-knot wind, which gives him about 90 knots over the ground, which is roughly the cruise speed of a Cessna 152.
And there's a great deal of use of composite materials in the aircraft's construction to reduce its weight. Rafale C, a very nice special colour scheme to boot. Well, now, the Rafale, I'm not sure whether he's going to exit at that first intersection. Yes, he is, after such a short stop. Now we're going to see the Army Air Corps Apache from their attack helicopter display. Turn there, around about 1,500 feet with the aircraft not really exceeding any more than 300 knots, pulling around about 4.5 G sustained. Close look at the Su-27 in September 1987 when a fully armed Soviet Air Force example collided.
But certainly when it appeared at Paris, there were a lot of people there with stopwatches timing its 360-degree turns to work out actually what its rate of turn was, and it didn't disappoint. Another great slow-speed flight past by this huge, great aircraft, and for those that were probably to the left of the crowd, you'd have seen that massive air brake just behind the canopy, helping the aircraft to slow down.
Some of the newer production flight variants incorporate thrust vectoring greater agility. There's the Su-30 multi-role two-seater, the much upgraded single-seat Su-35.
Absolutely awesome rate of acceleration there, probably equivalent to about 20 knots per second, which is the equivalent of 0 to 60 in 3 seconds in a high-performance car. Truly outstanding for an aircraft of this size.
First Guards Tactical Aviation Brigade of the Ukrainian Air Force at Mirage, a memorable air-to-2 return for the Sukhoi 27. And the twin drag chutes of the Su-27 P1M bringing his display to a close. But for the final item, it's to the British Army Air Corps. And it's going to be an explosive finale, and Captain Dave Steer is here to describe it to you.
Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, good afternoon. On behalf of the Attack Helicopter Display Team, I'd like to welcome you to today's display of the British Army Apache. My name is Captain Dave Steer and I'll be talking you through today's show. The team is made up of operational frontline crews from the Attack Helicopter Force based in Wattisham, Suffolk. All team members serve on frontline squadrons and hold a state of readiness should they be called upon for UK operations overseas. Today's crew is Major Jim Traherne flying the display from the rear seat of the aircraft and Staff Sergeant Mark Bowker in the front, together operating as call sign Gunship. Now, different to most helicopter designs, the Apache has a tandem cockpit with typically the